Gear up, because this is the Fuel Your Marketing podcast, designed to accelerate sales and grow your business. Let's welcome your host, Arti Sharma.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the Fuel Your Marketing podcast. I'm your host, Arti Sharma, and today I have an amazing guest on the show with me. And we're going to be talking a whole lot about digital marketing, search marketing, where search is headed, voice search, agile marketing, and a whole lot. So without any further ado, I would like to welcome Fernando Angulo, who's head of international partnerships at SEMrush. SEMrush is a great SEO and paid advertising measurement tool. And Fernando has been with SEMrush since the beginning of companies' marketing efforts. And his strength lies in building an all-star marketing team, making sure that he brings on the right partners to grow the business, and being one of the most recognized faces of the brand. Fernando has spoken at various conferences. I was amazed to hear that, Fernando, you've been speaking at 50 plus top conferences worldwide each year. So welcome again.
Hi, Arti. Thank you for having me here. I'm just excited to be here.
Very nice. So we are excited to have you as well. And, we've been partners with SEMrush for a very long time, for years now. So it's been an extraordinary journey working with your team. And you guys have built some really good, amazing support system for agencies. I just can't wait. Because I have you on the podcast show, I have covered the subject of future of SEO and voice search, but I want to hear from you. You guys have been at the gurus at the top, as to what is the future of voice search.
Well, yes, we were there with research, with analysis, with a lot of experiments. Actually, we are right now conducting another experiment just to understand how good is people also ask, how good are the feature snippets for the changes that we have for the last month when Google were deleting the second organic result from the first page if you already have a feature snippet. We are still there, just trying to analyze how this is affecting not only navigational or informational search queries, but the transactional ones. We saw that, just as a hint, the 99% of transactional search queries are just there with a voice search. And of course, you are competing with ads, you are competing with all the other search features, but if you are searching for something like how to open a bank account, or how to change your Forex provider, or how to trade options, right? So those are really high volume transactional search queries. And for them, Google has a lot of voice search results. They have only one, but they have the next question, which is related to your first one, which is a people also as result. Basically, all those search queries are already taken by big companies. So
the transactional search, we, typically when we are talking to our clients, we call them intent-based searches, because these searches are really high conversion oriented, because there's a need right there and then, and a lot of work needs to be done by companies to build their, I think, schema markup. Would you say that schema markup is going to be a big thing when it comes to SEO and voice search?
It is already, because when you are using a schema markup, you're explaining Google what exactly is your page about, what you want to them to expose, to share to the people. In terms of, we're talking about languages, just for an instance. I was the last week in the Nordic countries, in Norway, in Denmark, and Sweden. And a few years ago in Finland, for example, they didn't have any feature snippets. So they started using, they have a conglomerate of agencies working with SEO, like 150 agencies for the whole country. They were starting using all of them at the same time, schema markups for most of the location, for most of the addresses, side links, the right answer, so for all the countries. So Google started implementing the feature snippet, the people also have results there, because they couldn't understand, because of the markups, what is the main topic that people were searching because of the schema markup. So at that point, Google can understand better what your language is, what your product is, what your information is, based on a schema markup.
Yeah, so that's it. I think Google's step in the direction of adaptive search to make the user experience more compelling
Right.
and user experience more bang on in terms of, when a user searches through a voice search or a voice command or even through your computer searches, they really want people to have an amazing user experience because they don't want to be losing traffic to Facebook or Bing, right? And that's where Google's continuous algorithmic updates on user experience. We've been experiencing this. Like in February, there was another update that rolled out, which again, as you mentioned, removed the second results. Was it the number two results or the second page results that you're talking about?
The first page results when you
The
have the
first page.
feature snippet.
That's
Yeah.
right. If you have a feature snippet, then they would not show your listing on page one because you've already
Yeah,
taken
because
one position, and that's where they're kind of trying to create a balance because otherwise people are getting frustrated as to how do they capture the larger market share or the real estate on page one. And I think so that's a golden nugget. Companies you think should be definitely investing and revisiting their websites schema markup to say how are they kind of catering to the transaction-based searches or intent-based searches, right?
yes, definitely.
Okay.
If you
Okay.
are if you are in that industry, in whatever industry, financial, science, automotive industry, and you have the marketing team and you have the budget, that's
Mm-hmm.
something that you need to be there because that's just for marketing consolidation of your brand. If you are
Yeah.
using those type of search queries, where is the where can I change money, for example,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Mm-hmm.
Exchange money in offices. You will have
Mm-hmm.
the schema markup for the location of the office or for the ATM that is near to you. So
Mm-hmm.
near me ATMs machines. So you will have
Mm-hmm.
that schema markup with location. You will have the local pack result. And of course, if you are searching for that with a voice device, you will have already there your result, which is
Yeah.
just
I
fantastic
find
for any company.
I find that it's very important for schema markups for retail businesses also, especially if you're in a location-based market where let's
Yes.
say, for example, if it's an Italian bakery out of, let's say, Toronto, and you want to be focused on that particular niche and the location, and you want to be known for that. There's definitely need for those retail stores as well
Yes.
to have schema markups. I now because we're talking about transactional and intent-based searches, do you find that in a business to business environment also with frequently asked questions, schema markups could be a good way to build, their local brand visibility and also generate more traffic, qualified traffic?
Yes, in this case, when you are trying to have more awareness, you want to
Hmm.
answer people's question. That's
Hmm.
the way you need to do it. You need to use their end words, exactly starting with the term "what is,"
Hmm.
and putting after that the name of the company, the name of the service, the name of the product that you are providing.
Hmm.
That's the way that you need to do it. What is, I don't know, battery for truck? What is motorcycle, XW, etc.
Hmm.
Whatever product it is, you need to go with what is. Then where to find, how to use. So with those three question keywords, starting with starting like that, what is, where is, and how to use it, you
Hmm.
can just build the whole image for or your brand or for a single product.
Right. So what, where, and how is the, fill in those gaps for your voice
Yeah.
searchers and be found on page one. That's the easiest way for companies to invest in their marketing budget today because of the voice search evolution that's happening in 2020. More and more digitization of the phone and mobile devices is happening. So that's a
Yes.
great nugget, Fernando. Thank you. Yeah.
And that's only for the brand awareness because
Mm-hmm.
people are just looking what is this, where for example we had this result a couple of days ago in the US. What is competitive analysis?
Mm-hmm.
And SEMrush was there with the feature snippet, so we were
Mm-hmm.
fighting, we were creating the content to have that, and we already have that.
Mm-hmm.
But that's a broad keyword, right?
Right.
We will have like 100,000 people searching for that per month. But
Mm-hmm.
if we want to have people considering
Mm-hmm.
to buy a software, to use, or to have
Mm-hmm.
more information, we need
Mm-hmm.
to build another set of keywords with our
Mm-hmm.
also intent related keywords
Mm-hmm.
that are basically defined by prepositions,
Mm-hmm.
which are going with details. So with
Mm-hmm.
those details, we can go using, for example, with, without, a, or other prepositions in
Mm-hmm.
any other languages.
Mm-hmm.
Actually, I was living in Russia for about 20 years,
Mm-hmm.
and the prepositions there are like everywhere. So when you are using prepositions, you already have the knowledge about the product, service, company that you were looking for, and you want to have more details, and you are in that part where you are considering to use something. For example, iPhone with without SIM card or without a plan, or house with 2 bedrooms, or department with share pool. Whatever the detail is, that means that you are considering to do something with that information, and that's the main point. Most of the retail companies that are already creating an online visibility project, they are not considering to use that consideration part on their website. They think we just need to attract people because of the sake of attracting people, but you need to do something with those people.
That's right.
Of course, that's a big part of the content creation. And the last part, of course, is the conversion, when people can definitely buy something. And for that's the last part of the keywords that people need to use, and that's basically the price keywords or the comparison keywords. Because people, when they already have the knowledge, they already have considered, they say how much this is cost, what is the price, or compare product A versus product B. For retailers, that's a must-have. You have, for example, 2 pairs of wheels for bicycles, the winter wheels or the summer wheels. You need to compare it, or the universal season wheels. You need to compare those and have the prices, the description of those, and you can receive, of course, after that, when people are comparing products, they are most likely to buy something, right?
Yeah, so I think there's for example, that we're working with a window shutters and blinds company locally, and then when they're comparing products and we're using schema markup for them, they're definitely dominating the search engines, because we're comparing one type of roller shades to the other type of roller shades in comparison with price and the product quality as well as features. So I think that's a great point. Now, given that this is a part of the content production, this is how uniquely people can separate themselves from the traditional content production, which is from blogs to moving on to these kind of content pages or content production on the website and adding schema to it. Where do you think, blogs and white papers and case studies and articles and location-based pages fit into the search today?
Well, basically, all of them, they need to be able to create that process that they are having as key metric any SERP feature. So right now it's not about traffic, because most of the web pages, most of the websites are losing traffic. Google is losing thousands, millions of traffic every month because of the
that's
Facebook,
a vanity metric.
Amazon.
Yeah, that's a vanity metric.
So if you have SERP features, any SERP feature, the knowledge graph, you have the local pack, you have the feature snippet. You should celebrate if you have the feature snippet, or the people also ask, or the rest of them. So the most of the there are some companies, for example, in US, like Citizens Bank, they just change their main KPIs for SEO. We're not into the traffic anymore. We don't care about the traffic, because people already know who we are. They're an established company, and they're searching more. They're measuring more the number of SERP features. So for the agencies that they're working with, they say our main KPI are SERP features.
So when you say SERP features, what is the SERP? Define that metric. I mean, as in what is that SERP feature for our audience who are new to SEO? What does that look like?
Yes. In this case, we have organic results, which are basically the non-paid results, which Google is indexing all the pages, and they're giving you the results which are not paid. We say it can be the position 1, the position 2, the position 3, whatever. But in this case, there are other type of results that belongs to Google. So they are Google products or Google features. We call them, and Google call them as well, SERP features. So these are results that are appearing at the top of the page that are not the ones that we were used like 5 years ago. Those results can be images, can be videos, can be carousel of images with news, can be a map with locations, can be the box with the ranked answer, can be anything. There are a lot of them. I believe there are 16 or more. So anytime, I believe there are more even. So anytime when a new type of trend is coming globally. Let's say people are buying right now. They're not buying plane tickets, but at some point people were buying like crazy tickets. Skyscanner was there. Most of the companies were there. So Google created a search features for for air tickets. So they have their search feature for air tickets just inside of the Google search results. So
Google
search
Travel,
feature,
basically. Google Travel.
Google
That was,
Travel,
yeah,
yes,
yeah. So that's great. So what you're suggesting is that content shouldn't be just limited to blogs and articles. Images should be considered content, videos, podcasts, just like this
yes,
conversation should be content.
definitely,
And
yeah,
and these are SERP features. So companies should be measuring what are the different channels of communication that they can put out there that people are looking for that could be considered and indexed by Google to create a
right.
stellar user experience.
Yeah, that's correct.
Okay.
Because in most of the cases, when we are searching for a brand, let's say Nike, you can put their Nike, you will see several search features. Okay, you will see ads first, then you will see Google My Business, the listing, the product listing ads, then you will see the location of the stores, and then you will see, so the completely first page of Google, the 10 results are going to be just dominated by the brand. So basically, the ultimate goal for brands, for companies, will be to dominate their brand name. So branded searches, the results that are complete in the first page should be like the ultimate goal. This is our
right.
name, and we have the first result, because we cannot compete with Google. Google is just helping us to receive more visits, to receive more traffic. If we are not, of course, Booking, if we are not Amazon, that they can compete with Google. But
That's right.
for us, we need to be part of those changes that Google is doing every single day.
Now, it's hard to keep up with those trends. I mean, how does a small business or a mid-sized business keep up with those trends? What are your best suggestions for doing that?
Yes, I have one and only one resource here. And of course, it's a SEMrush product. Actually, it's not a paid product. It's a report that is called Sensor. So if you want to check what is happening with the search features or Google updates, or how many times Google is changing their algorithm, and when they're telling that publicly, you just need to go to semrush.com/sensor to check what exactly is happening now on the SERPs. So we have a scoring there that is based on the fluctuations of that algorithm on those SERPs, or in mobile or in desktop devices. And we can check there how many times Google is changing and where exactly those changes are happening by country and by category, by industry. So if you're working in the news industry, everything is changing all the time. If you're working in the, I don't know, science industry, not so many things are changing all the time, but you just need to check to be aware. It's like the weather channel. You want to see it's raining outside. Oh, you want to see how Google is changing the result. You need to go to the weather channel or to Sensor in SEMrush.
Yeah, that's a great tool. So folks who are listening online, it's semrush.com/sensor. But I also find that companies can find the right agencies to support their marketing goals. So I'm just a plug for Measure Marketing. We work with on SEO campaigns and content marketing and influencer marketing for a lot of small, mid-sized agencies. And we're constantly keeping ourselves up to date, just like with these conversations with the SEMrush folks and other tools that we use to stay above the curve and stay leading edge. And I think you want to work with companies who stay leading edge, because that's when they have your best interest in mind. Talking about Google's updates and Google's changes, back in the day, 10 years ago or 12 years ago, when SEO was very, very new, I remember folk by the name of Brad Fallon, who had a Yahoo store back in the day, and StomperNet used to be big at that time on SEO. Backlinks were given a whole lot of importance, right? What's the importance today for backlinks? Do they still exist? Does Google still give it importance? And what is the best way to garner, if it is important, what is the best way to garner some tools, some backlinks for your web presence?
Yes, actually, at that time, 10 years ago, it was easy to just create a page based on backlinks, just put there the backlinks, and you will have somehow some results. In most of the cases, you can have the best results with that. with other search engines. You can do the same stuff and you can have really good results. But with Google, things has changed a lot, and you need to have only good quality links with high domain authority from really good quality resources. Yes, all the link building and the link building strategies that we were using 5-10 years ago, they are still good, but with the only condition that those links need to be really, really good. And for the Google terms and conditions, they need to be earned organically. So that means that you need to have a really good quality content, and people or other websites, other resources, other webmasters, they need to link to your website somehow organically. Links are still important. Basically, I will say most of the people in the industry, they are saying yes. I know, I don't know, maybe 5% of them, they say they're not important anymore. We tested content only good content with the right hierarchy, with lists, with tables, so everything perfectly is still ranking. But when you are using links, it's ranking even faster. So links are still important. You can live without links. I believe you can. But if you want to have that push, that stamina,
acceleration, that growth and that acceleration. Okay.
Links are the thing. Yeah, still.
Okay, great. So how does influencer marketing tie with backlinking? Is it a new name for backlinking?
No, actually, it should be, because when we started growing this company, when we started growing SEMrush, that was our main strategy, influencer marketing. But it was not outreaching or backlinks outreach. We were, with the term influencer marketing at that time, we wanted to achieve a community growth, community creation, and sense of belonging to a community. So that's why we started outreaching professors, blogs, speakers, and of course authors of ebooks online, just to say thank you for mentioning us, because we were receiving a lot of mentions, online mentions, offline mentions, but we didn't ask never to please put me on do follow link to the website, because we were receiving those as well. Lately, I don't know, last year, when we started doing the outreach for links, and we started doing it, so we can do that, but that's not related with influencer. Maybe because it's our company, influencer marketing is building relationships with your community. It's community creation, and it's building relation. What kind of relationships? Well, the ones that you have a bunch of people in one country, in one city, and you can go out for beers tonight, for dancing, or for going and create a conference, for example. So business, friendship, a relationship. But the other part, the outreach for backlinks, that's another part, and that's basically more related to SEO and SEO KPIs that we have with other team, but it's not related for us, at least, with influencer marketing.
So let's clarify for our audience. Influencer marketing is all about building your community, building your tribe, building your sphere of influence, where you could possibly, as it says, sphere of influence, where you can go and influence them and learn from that community, and then probably bring evolution or I would say advancements to your product and services and add value. Whereas link building is considered as an outreach for reaching out to have a reciprocal link because you're an authority in your subject and somebody would benefit from it. And I think that's a fantastic way to build backlinks. I would like to second that link building has definitely changed. Is it important in the 200 algorithmic factors that SEO today Google benchmarks us against? Yep. Absolutely. It does accelerate your search results. On that point, I want to clarify. Do you think when people post on social media about a blog, about an image, about a before and after image, and link it back to, let's say, their gallery section, link it back to their frequently asked questions section, is it a backlink?
That's a really good question. We tried to test that several times. We couldn't find any good result, any result. So it was like you have all those links or those mentions, but nothing really pushing like a link to another resource. But in terms of social signals that Google was mentioning, you
Mm-hmm.
have people sharing, you have people commenting, you have, so those are social signals that for Google, that's a signal that content is useful to people. So in that term, there is something happening out there. And we also saw that if you have social signals, that's a really good point for acquiring, for earning feature snippets and the other search features. That's something that Google is requiring as well. So it's
I
a
would
really
second
good
that.
thing.
Yeah, I would second that. We've been testing this as well. Every time we have social media posts are great to build brand awareness unless you have mentions, unless you have retweets or sharing happening for that content, and it is considered as a social signal by Google, it won't have an direct impact on your SEO. However, when these posts are getting more engagement, more likes, more sharing, that's when Google's algorithm bots are being sending that senses that, that signals are going there to say it's a valuable piece of content. And then more and more that happens and more it ages, it starts to show up on page one of Google. I mean, I've seen when you search for a brand name, their Facebook shows up, but sometimes their most
Yeah.
I'd say engaging post also shows up on search results page. So that's another way of looking at social media. But I think social media should be given importance from an SEO standpoint, but more from an engagement standpoint. Now, talking about KPIs and talking about retail, we've covered a whole lot of ground on content. I really appreciate you being so candid. I know that e-commerce is a big thing. Everyone's talking about e-commerce. E-commerce is the way to do business. Like, look at Amazon. What happened to Amazon? Look at apps like Uber and Lyft, and everything is becoming more and more online. And struggling retail stores are now moving towards online stores as well. And Shopify has done a great job of creating that kind of a platform which is affordable, accessible, and now they've done such a great work with their SEO component of the Shopify platform as well. Where do you think e-commerce is headed and search and e-commerce are headed? I mean, it's shrinking. Page one results are shrinking. What is that one thing that companies who are on online world in e-commerce can do with their SEO?
Well, when we're talking about the future, what is coming, right? We have several ideas about the possible outcomes of artificial intelligence and voice search
Mm-hmm.
with retail. So, in long term, let's go to short term. So, in a couple of years, we think that voice search integrated with the assistant, the devices who already possess artificial intelligence, they will have a pretty much interesting amount of knowledge about our habits. What do we need? Where we need to buy something? From where? And in 3 years, for example, let's say, we think that they're gonna just taking their own decisions based on just little things that we are doing every single time, like buying milk, paying the bills, or asking for some advice to a legal company because we need to pay taxes. So those small things that we're constantly doing, the artificial intelligence assistant are gonna do that part. And retailers, so I want to buy the best milk. I want to buy my t-shirt is not new. I want to have the next t-shirt. And those type of decisions are going to be really based on voice search and artificial intelligence, which is already there. In 5 years from now, we believe that some of the most complicated decisions are going to be taken based on predictivity. That's going to be the prediction search type of queries. For example, Google has all the knowledge about what is happening everywhere, and will have even more knowledge. And someday you will say to your assistant, I'm hungry. I want a hamburger. And your assistant say, oh, Fernando, I believe you want a pizza. It's pizza time. Oh, yes, I want a pizza. Definitely. Let's go. So they're going to be asking all the time. All the decisions are going to be by approval. So do you want this? Okay, let's do it. I believe you want also this. I don't know where to go to vacations. oh, you have this destination, and your credit card allows you to go to this place because you have this discount. So everything's going to be by voice search. All the decisions, the buying decisions, are going to be taken by that. So that's the nearest future, and it's just in the next corner. So if the retailers are not investing for creating content that is going to be selected for a voice search result, so that's feature snippets, basically all the other search features on Google, that's you're not going to be just there for that feature that is coming. And if you are not doing SEO for Amazon, for example, which is one of the biggest sources for searching products, you're just not going to be on Alexa as well. So that will be the advice. Go for voice search now.
Mm-hmm. And I think my concern is that, when smaller businesses, they have to be localized. They have to do local search. Google My Business Local is big on that. And then now they have e-commerce to look into. What are the few things that they can do? Like give them 3 tips that they can do today to get started on the prediction search. That's new. That's new to me. Prediction search. I've never heard of the terminology, but I'm going to Google it and hopefully find resources on that. So what can they do?
There's a lot. Yes. Well, for the predictive search is predictive search. Yes. For that feature, we have 3 types of marketers. We have the corporate marketers from big brands like IBM, Microsoft, and companies that have more than 5,000 employees. So those are the ones that are going to be following basically the data acquisition. So data acquisition is for artificial intelligence. The rest of the marketers, like, for example, for companies with less than 5,000 employees, like SEMrush, for example, in this case, right now we're about 1,000. We are going to be living in the era of the user. Everything is going to be user-related, user experience. User is the king. It's not the content, the king. Right now we are living in the era of the user, and the user is yes, user experience is key. All basically, most of the companies are just thinking about how to make the users happy, how to do things for them. So it's not about the product anymore, and that's why we are an agile company. So agile companies are flexible enough to change the way that the user is changing. The user is using more, let's say, TikTok. Let's create a TikTok-based product. The user is using more Amazon. Let's build an Amazon product. The user is using more new wearables. Let's talk about them. The rest of the SMBs, the small businesses, and the marketers who are starting are just going to be analyzing what is happening with content. So that's going to be the pyramid. The top of the pyramid is data and data analysis. The next one is the user, just trying to make the user happy. And the lowest part, the basics, is the content creation, content for users.
So I think what we're talking here is about understanding your consumer journey, their behaviors, and for smaller, medium-sized businesses to continually pivot and be agile to understand where their users are in the buying journey to be able to influence them with their content, exceptional, measure the data to understand what they want and then present them with those options. Okay, great. Well, that's awesome. You touched upon agility, and I want to hear from you how SEMrush as a company stays agile in this world of changing data metrics, changing KPIs, changing user behaviors, changing the way search is happening. How does SEMrush stay agile? What kind of team structures do you put in? What kind of operational structures do you put in?
So from the beginning, when we were a startup with 10, 15 people, and I joined the company at that time, we were only developers, all basically doing a Scrum with Agile, with all the boards, with the sprints, and with the demos. But we implemented that also for the marketing teams, and then for the sales teams. And that went well. Then we implemented OKRs. So we're still agile, but with OKR. So we saw, okay, yes, Intel is working with OKRs, Google is working with OKRs. But when we started growing like 200 people per year, and basically that's one person every single day, you need to make them learn the possibilities of OKR and just creating the goals and the mission, vision and mission of the company. So it was kind of complicated for that significant growth that we have the last 2 years. So we invested a lot of time and money to build another framework, which is Rhythm, created by Spotify.
What is it called?
So it's Rhythm, like rhythm.
Yeah. Okay. Rhythm.
Spotify Rhythm. So they also pass through the KPIs and the OKR. They're also an agile company, but the framework is different because of the size of the company. And when they got like 10,000 people working for them and just more than 200 or 300 different teams, they couldn't make it with OKR. We faced the same thing when we had 100 teams inside of the company. So we needed something bigger, and just to align all the teams inside of the company. Agile is good as a continuous redefining yourself as we are serving the user. We're not for the product, we're for the user. But Spotify Rhythm, in this case, we embedded our own SEMrush Rhythm. Actually, Lego and IKEA are working with the same framework. For this type of companies, everybody in the company, they know the goal of the company. Everybody are just investing their time and their resources, which each team, to follow the goal of the company. It's really complicated, but it's so easy to realize.
And it's very rewarding because you see the results. So just for our listeners, OKRs are objective and key results metrics. Some people call them key performance indicators, but OKRs are a little bit different. For any small, medium-sized businesses, your OKRs will shift from 3 OKRs to 30 to 60, depending upon the size of your company. What Fernando is talking about is not just having Scrum meetings and your OKRs and for your development and your website design teams, just something like we do, but having those for marketing teams is important. So for example, if our listeners are working with agencies, defining those objectives and key results metrics is very important, because otherwise you'll end up measuring wrong metrics, which were not going to have the impact. So OKRs are defined and tied to the outcome of the project or that particular objective or a company-wide goal, which is where I think you guys have done a really good job with agility. Now, going back in the time when you were measuring OKRs, how many OKRs did you have as a team, as a company?
Well, the whole company, we had like 3 or 5 OKRs per company, but per team, all the teams had at least 5 OKRs. So at that size, for every quarter, we have at least 200 or 400 OKRs.
That's right. And that's what I would imagine with the size of your company. So every team has their own sub OKRs as well. So it's a pyramid situation where you have company-wide goals, and those goals are now submitted to each team, and they have their own projects that lead into achieving those OKRs. So another podcast, maybe Fernando, on OKRs itself, but I think for today, we've covered a whole lot of ground, and agility is the way to go. I always say that any small business should never treat them as a small business. If they were to grow and if they're in a serious business, bring the goodness of the corporation. I mean, I'm an entrepreneur. I've quit the corporate world to start an startup and bootstrapped it because there were a few things that, corporations sometimes slow you down. But treat your company and bring the goodness of bigger companies. Think like them, and treat your small business as the most valuable asset, and treat them from a marketing, sales, operations, and efficiency standpoint. With that said, Fernando, thank you so very much for sharing some great insights. To summarize, schema markups are the way to go. Backlinks are still good. Think not just about vanity metrics like traffic. Think about how can you measure SERP results, and talk to your marketing teams on measuring how the traffic is coming from which all channels and where the data acquisition can play a role. Stay agile, understand your buyer journey, and don't think just about SEO from a standpoint of bringing traffic, but also think about customer journey. What are they searching for? What are the transactions that are happening? What is the intent behind your content building? And then take your own decisions, to where do you want to play? What are the biggest, lowest hanging fruits for you to take steps towards your SEO marketing? And Fernando, thank you for sharing the tool semrush.com/sensor for us to go in and take a look. And if you are looking for any insights as to how your SEO is performing, feel free to reach out to us at measuremarketing.com. We'd be happy to help you out, understand where you play today, where your competition is, and where can you take it to get the largest market share and play with Google. Okay. With that said, Fernando, thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Arti, for having me here. A lot of fun. So many topics. I had my doubts if we were going to touch all the topics, but we did it.
Yes, we did. And I think we really made an impact. Maybe we need a plan 2 or an episode 2 in a few months. But until then, keep crushing it at SEM Rush headquarters. You guys are doing a great job, and we'll stay connected.
Thank you for listening to the Fuel Your Marketing podcast. For more episodes, visit www.fuelyourmarketing.com.